Hello. Today we're going to talk about positioning because positioning is one of the most important things you can do to get anyone to understand that you're even selling something. And if no one understands you're selling something, no one can buy what you're selling. And if no one can buy what you're selling, you can't make any money. Not making any money kind of sucks. So let's talk about how to get the positioning right. Positioning means people know you, they remember you, and they do, the nice thing in which they give you their cash. So, uh, in this video, I'm going to go through two different explanations on how to achieve this. I'll focus on the positioning section, but before that, we'll go through segmentation and targeting. Segmentation and targeting are kind of essential in terms of positioning, but I do them very differently than most people do. So I'll explain the classic way of how you would do them, how you do them in like a neighborhood or something, and then I'll focus on how you do this on social media, because it's very, very different from the normal, regular approach that you would see most people do in classic marketing. This is very different because, social media, new rules, new playground. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jordan Parker. I've made 5 businesses, 3 of which failed absolutely miserably. The 4th worked with billion-dollar clients, and the 5th one is this. It's Parker Labs, and we help creators build their own money, make their own money, not build their own money. That would be very erroneous of me, and I will definitely delete this from the video, which I won't do because I don't edit those. And yeah, let's talk about positioning. So, this is a very classic framework for basically carving a segment out of a market. It's called STP, or segmentation, targeting, positioning. I stole this image from Google, so ignore the explanations here. I will explain them in a very visual way. So it's a 3-step process, so those are sequential. You first segment the market, then you target a part of the market, and then you position yourself in front of that part of the market. This overarching structure is very similar on social media, but not exactly the same. So let's go through this in a very classic example. You have a neighborhood. You see, I screenshotted Google Maps here, and we have a nice, neat neighborhood. And what you first want to do is you want to segment that neighborhood in some way. You need to divide people in different categories, because if you are just targeting anyone in the neighborhood, you'll be wasting a lot of your money. Because usually when you're marketing to people, you're investing money in that sort of marketing. You might be giving them flyers, you might be running ads to them, you might in some way, getting them to know that you exist and you do whatever you don't want to do. Now, to do this effectively, you want to figure out who can actually be interesting for your service, and then start from there. You want to market to people who are kind of open to it, and not to people who would hate you. So I don't know, if you're selling vegan cakes, you probably don't go to some meat eaters context, because it's gonna be just weird. So what you probably do is you're going to start dividing up the market in some way. So let's say those people here are super rich, and then we'll have those people here. Oh, wait, I wanted to change the color of the next one. Let's change this one. So we have those people here who are, I don't know, they have dogs. And then we have those people here. Come on, let me change the color correctly. We have those people here who, I don't know, they watch cable TV, whatever. And then you divide the market like this. To do this, you need data. So you need to either get public data, so I don't know, you get the yellow pages, or you go on Craigslist, you do market research, you understand your market, and you figure it out. You can even walk through the neighborhood and see, hey, how many of those houses have pools? You probably can sell pool cleaning to houses that have pools, and you probably have a 0% success rate selling pool cleaning to houses that do not have pools, because they don't need pool cleaning, because, lack of pools. That's a very severe medical condition, so I'm not making fun of people who lack pools. I understand, but yeah, that's I get it. All right, maybe I should get rid of this thing, which I cannot. Oh, that is amazing. That's very useful. Anyway, we will. You'll get to see me twice, which is obviously a nice bonus. Let me hide it behind me. Ooh, very creative. Cool. Okay, so we have people who you have people who have pools. You can go around, you can interview people, you can basically scout the area, you can pay someone else to scout the area, you can buy a database online figuring out what kind of people live there and how are they divided up between different interesting traits that your business might be interested in. And that can be physical stuff, like they own something. It can be some mental traits, they were interested in purchasing this specific program, whatever, or they go to a gym. So based on that, you segment the market, and then you pick a target of that, then you create a target from from those segments. What that means is that you pick several different qualifications, and based on them you're like, okay, I want to target people who have a pool, have a dog, and have interest in going to the gym, because they feel like they'll be the best customers for me. And by the way, this is as much as art as it is science, so it is very, like, it's a very much of a field thing. There is no perfectly scientific way and perfectly logical way to do this. You basically do this, try it out, you pick a group of people to sell to, you see the results, and then you pick again and pick better. And you do this enough times and you eventually get very good. That's why people very often went to professionals to do this thing, and they didn't just run everything in-house when they started their company. Anyway, so you pick who you want to target. So let's say I want to target people who have pools, have a gym, whatever. Now, after I know who those people are, they become my marketing persona, this imaginary person that I'm going to sell to. Then I end up positioning myself again for that person. So I try to see and try to, kind of logic out what kind of things they will buy, where would they buy them from, and then I try to position myself against the things that they might potentially buy. You can see that it gets a little bit woozy here, because you're not talking to actual real people, you're talking about personas, you're talking about imaginary people who are a representation, and sometimes reasonably accurate one, but it's still imaginary, so it creates this very tangible issue in positioning, which is, I don't know what am I positioning for. And then you can solve this by going and interviewing specific people, but if you interview like 70 people, it becomes even more difficult. So this can be a little bit messy, it's not as elegant, and luckily on social media we have an approach that I personally think is way more elegant to achieving this. So we're again going to go through those same steps, but it's going to feel and be very different in terms of how do you actually approach this, because here we're not taking, some parameters of people, we're taking actual people. So you can go to a followers list that you have in any social network and be like, oh, look, this is the people who follow me. I blurred those out because this is actually a screenshot from my LinkedIn. I decided it's probably not the best idea to just give you random people's names. But you have a bunch of people, like this person, is a doctor and follows me. This person is, a dentist. This person, I'm sure I'm talking only about doctors, but Doctor Day. Anyway, this person is, fixing codes. This person is a carpenter. This person is a programmer. This person is whatever. And you have a bunch of people in your network that are actively following you. Now, if you don't have a product, this works best because it's kind of the best way to figure out how to position yourself before you even build something that you want to position. But so I will explain this. You can adapt this approach to anything that already exists, but it's a little bit harder because you have to do a bit more stretching here and there, but it works. So you go through this list of people and you basically think and ask yourself, and like this wouldn't work if you have a massive business because you have 7,000 people responsible for this. This is for creators. But if you're working on social media, if you want to find clients on social media, you go through a list of followers and you ask yourself a very simple question, a question that every single person can answer. And that is, who of those people I actually like? Because it's very easy to just pick 7,000 criteria of why someone would theoretically make the perfect client. And it's very easy to get those criteria, get someone here who actually fits all these criteria, talk to them, and they're a complete asshole. And you're like, I don't want to work with this person because they suck. And that's very, very common. You'd be surprised how common this is. So instead of doing this, you actually go through actual people that you actually have, talked to on social media, and you're like, do I like this person or not? Is Josh the carpenter a nice guy, or is he an asshole? This is a very, tangible question, and you would have your answer. And you don't care about other people's opinions. You care about your opinion. You're the one who might be working with him or not working with him. So your opinion is the one that matters. So you look through your people, and you'll find a bunch of people that you're like, hey, I kind of dig those, guys, girls, whatever. And you're like, I want to work with them in some way. We still don't know that because we're still not positioning. We still don't know what exactly we're helping with. Now, the next part usually is going to be targeting, and he's like, oh, let me target them based on some of their criteria, based on some of their traits. We won't do that here. We won't be looking at, hey, let's ask Joe what kind of an MBTI he has and see if he fits my criteria of my perfect imaginary client. That would be very cool if we didn't have a way better way. Then we have a way better way, and that way better way is, instead of trying to get random criteria, we just talk to Joe and figure out what kind of problems he has. If he has a problem that we would potentially like solving and it's painful enough for him, that's a good sign that maybe there is some overlap between what you want to do and what he needs help with. Very, very easy. Then you go through a list again, a list of people you like again, and then you find Mary, and you're like, okay, Mary, what kind of problems you have? And you're hoping that you say one of the problems Joe had, so you can take two problems that two people from that list have and kind of make them one problem. Like if Joe has one problem and Mary has the same problem, let's say, I can't get anyone to follow me on LinkedIn. If both of them say the same thing, that means that more people have this problem. So you talk to a bunch more people and you collect this massive pile of problems. And it's going to look something like this. I didn't write this down, but it's going to be problem 1. And let me make this black because it's ugly. And you have Joe, Mary, I don't know, Anastasius, which is a normal name, yeah. And then you have, come on, problem 2, and then you have just Joe having it, and then you have problem 3, and then you have just Joe and Mary having it, and so on and so forth. And as you make this list, it is going to become very visible which problems have a lot of people suffering from them and which problems don't have a lot of people suffering from them. Once you have that kind of a list, it becomes very easy to pick what problem do you want to solve. Meaning, positioning becomes exceptionally easier. And I'll show you exactly how. So, what's happening here is that as you go through this list, you'll find, first of all, you'll sort those based on how many people have the problem. And then you will end up with like 3-4 problems on top that are obviously the most common problems, that are obviously the most painful problems. You're probably going to pick one of those. From there, you'll go through them and be like, okay, which one of those I can actually help with and I actually want to help with. Because some of them will be like, my knee hurts. And you're like, I don't care. Like, I want to help people with websites, not their knees. So it's irrelevant, even though for them it's a big problem. For you, it's not something that you can help with. But in any case, you filter those out. Most of the problems that they'll mention, because they know you and they have some sort of feeling of what you can help with, are going to be reasonably close to you. So you just eliminate whichever few problems are not something that you can work with or you don't want to work with, and you're left with a short list of problems that you can help with. From those, you can pick based on your personal preference, you can pick based on which one people would potentially pay the most for, and so on and so forth. As long as it is a problem that people have actively and they haven't found a good solution and there isn't an obvious solution, you're okay. And don't worry about if the market is saturated, it's not. I can assure you the market isn't saturated for whatever random idea you have. Like if people can create new sandwich chains and sell sandwiches, you can sell whatever online service that like 2% of the population needs. It's fine. So after you have this step, you actually have picked one single problem that you can help a bunch of people that you want to hang out with, aka they'll be perfect clients. And having all of that, you're ready for the last step. And you know, I made this awesome screenshot by editing something online, so it's horrible. Anyway, this is, you know, talking to people, very, very beautiful representation. But finally, when you have the problem, you want to position yourself for that problem. Positioning is an act of comparing. So you want to look where other people can get the solution to their own problem and compare against them. So here is an example with landing pages. By the way, here we're talking about creators. So we are not only comparing the final product, which is fast landing pages or pretty landing pages. Oh, I have fast landing pages twice. Let's make this very fast. This is obviously very, very different than just fast. This is very fast. This guy's better, or girl, whatever. Anyway, so we're here looking at the final quality of what's happening. So we can have fast pages, we can have SEO optimized pages, we can have pretty, we can have very fast, whatever. But you're also looking at the person. Does the person hate Elon Musk and you love Elon Musk? Or do you love Elon Musk and the person hates Elon Musk? That's a factor. Like online, who actually is selling the service, because we're working with very small businesses, matters. So people pick based on random personal preferences about the interest and the personality of who they're buying for. You probably don't know the person baking your bread and what kind of, you know, political preferences they have, but you probably have a political preference for someone you're buying from social media because you want to like them. And that's what is horrible about social media, because we're getting way too close into people's lives. But it's also amazing because that it lets you stand out in the easiest possible way. So you have people who like anime, and people who hate anime, and people who build fast landing pages and hate anime, and so on and so forth. So this combination of traits that define the person who is delivering the service, especially when working with creators with smaller businesses, are the important thing. So whatever problem you have, you look for other people who solve that problem on the same network that you are on. So if you're on YouTube, you look for other YouTubers. If you're on Twitter, you look for other Twitterers. That's the word. Twitterers. Yes. Anyway, if you're on LinkedIn, you look for other people on LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. On Instagram, on Threads, on TikTok, whichever band network you want, you can use that one. Anyhow, so you look there for other people that your audience, the people that are following you and that you potentially want to work with, are, interested in. So you look at them and you make a list. And you kind of try to summarize why are they useful, why people would go to them. Do they have a very strong thing that they like, that they constantly can't shut up about? Are they the person constantly talking about politics? Are they never mentioning politics? Are they the person constantly talking about some, food craze? I am ketogenic, I am vegan, I am whatever. Like, if somebody is ketogenic, they will be more likely to buy a landing page from another person who likes the ketogenic diet for whatever stupid reason. It doesn't make any sense, because your ability to create websites is not connected to what kind of food you put in your mouth, but people think like that, and people feel like this is a better choice because they like the person more. So that works. So basically list what summarizes that person. Is it their output? What kind of landing pages they have? For example, if we're looking at landing pages, are they better? Are they prettier? Are they faster? Do they use a lot of AI? Do they hate AI? Never use AI? Like, what makes them stand out? And you make this list. And then the only thing you have to do, which is way simpler than classic positioning, but also not super easy, you actually go to them and find a way you can say something that can make you stand out. So having all of those, we don't have anyone who is obsessed with Star Wars. Yes, it is completely random, but it might work if the target audience that you're targeting, if let's say people who are looking for landing pages, a lot of them or enough of them like Star Wars, the Star Wars guy, girl, whatever gender, who is making landing pages, that can stand out. That's a way to stand out. You can make landing pages with your 25 years of engineering experience that no one else has. You can make landing pages with your super special AI robot tool that can make them instantly at no cost, whatever. Like, you figure out how to make your business in a way that stands out from everyone else, and you don't have to be super unique and super special. You have to be unique and special from this very small group of people. They're probably going to be like 10, maybe 20 people offering the same thing, like prominent people offering the same thing to the same group of people that you are already targeting. And this is a very small section of them. If you want to compete with every business online, that's hundreds of thousands of businesses, and that's going to be incredibly difficult and very, very hard to position against. But if you look at the, your actual real competitors in that very tiny space with those very real people, it's a very short list, and this short list, you can stand out from it in many, many ways. Now, what you end up with is something that feels way too simple for it to work, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. So I'm the Star Wars person who designs landing pages. That sounds almost silly, but it can work. The only way for you to know for a fact if it works is you give it a shot. You see if people are actually entertained by the mere idea that you like Star Wars enough for them to even consider your landing page business. Maybe that's too infantile. Maybe people don't care about this. Maybe it's amazing and people like finally someone who is not as serious and tight ass as everyone else. Like, you don't know. So what you do with your positioning, the final step is you basically run through several different positionings and you see which one works best. And how you run through them, it's very simple. Like, you talk about what the topic that you want to, like, you talk about the things that you want to position, right? Like, I am this person, or I do my product in this way. And at the end of this, you're like, if you're interested, send me a message or write a comment. And you will not get 1,000 comments for one of those posts. You get very few. But as you get this, you will eventually get some people to raise their hand and be like, yeah, I'm kind of curious about this. Then you Go and talk to them and see, hey, why were you curious about this? Like, what caught your eye? And some people are like, yeah, really wanted a landing page and I like you. Other people are like, I really wanted a landing page and I really like Star Wars. And when you get some of those, mega fans that are obviously, very interested in every part of your positioning, you're like, okay, this might work. And then you lean more into it and you test it more and you test it longer. Obviously, if you want to test this super fast, you run ads. You create one ad that talks about Star Wars. You create one ad that talks about all of your professional skills. You create one ad that talks about the unique way that you use to deliver those results. You create one ad that combines all of those things, and you basically run all of those. You invest a bit of money in every one, and you see which one performs best. That will be the cleanest and best test. Not everyone can afford this. If you can't afford this, just try stuff. See what kind of topics do people react best to on social media, and then use those topics that you already know people like as the way to position yourself. Like if you're talking about, I don't know, J.K. Molina talks about like saying cash, and like this became very viral, so this became the unique way he implemented his business. He made this into his positioning because he just posted 1,000 silly ideas, and 10 15 of them just spread like wildfire and everyone loved them. So this specific idea became the core of his business, and so on. So this is a very natural approach that is based on actual real humans. This makes it work exceptionally better compared to trying to work with personas and imaginary humans, because this can absolutely work. But this doesn't utilize the fact, like this old school marketing approach, doesn't utilize the fact that you actually can connect and talk to those people way easier. You don't need to go to their house and show up at their door and be like, hello there, are you interested in my new very interesting product that is very interesting, and I'm very interesting to be interested in showing you how interesting it is. That would be, a little bit cringy, aka a lot of cringy. And, you don't need to do this. You can just chat with them like normal people. You can have fun, and you can actually figure out what kind of a business you want to run with people that you already know that you enjoy working with, instead of figuring out, hey, this can work, and then realizing, hey, the customers are kind of assholes. They're rich and entitled, and I don't like them. Or is the opposite. They're I don't know, they don't have any money and they're tire kickers, whatever. Like, you will always have some issues with the people that you work with. This way you figure out the people first. And when you figure out the people first, positioning becomes super easy. Again, this is way easier than comparing to a billion businesses, and everything becomes much more streamlined. And here you're left with like 10 15 experiments that can take a few weeks, a few months, whatever, but you are very close to actually finding your business's positioning, and a very strong one at that, without over investing years and years of work to just figure that out. So very, very good shit. Anyway, if that was useful, if that was interesting, I run a newsletter called Creator Income. I have a link below. Join that if you want to learn more about how to do creator income, which is kind of in the name. So if you enjoyed that, go there. If you don't, I don't know, write me a comment, tell me how much I suck, but then make it very positive, because we need to be positive in this world. Anyway, bye.